Now we're going to look at how to create a discussion forum in Moodle. Again, you're going to want to make sure editing is on. You're going to go to the unit where you want to add it. You're going to click on Add an Activity. You're then going to find the forum section. Click on it. Here's an explanation of discussion forums and some various options. Generally, it's a place where students can discuss and respond to each other's posts. The teacher can also participate as well in a discussion forum. They are asynchronous as opposed to the chat. This is asynchronous. So if you want to add a forum, you click Add. It's going to ask for the forum name. So just as an example, something like that. And then in the description is where you're going to post the topic or the question that will be discussed, as well as any instructions as far as how they should respond, the number of responses they need to give, and things like that. So just as an example, so those are my basic directions as far as the topic that needs to be discussed. And then I'm going to usually add that they need to respond to at least 2 other classmates' posts. And you can include, for full credit or a little bit more of a description. But that's basically, you get the idea. Again, you can change that. You can highlight certain things. Maybe you want to emphasize that they need to definitely do 2. Change that font, make it gigantic. Whatever. You can do that. Another thing that I like to do for discussion is to have them watch a video, like a TED Talk, for example, or something else that kind of has some really interesting content to it that would apply to a discussion starter. And you can embed that directly in here using the HTML button. If you wanted to do that, what you would do is go to where you wanted to find I'm not going to use this search engine. I'm going to go and find TED Talks. So just as an example, if I did want to start with TED Talks, and let's say I wanted, hopefully something pops up. Okay, that's the profile. So let's say I wanted to use this TED Talk to initiate as well. What I like to do is choose the embed. Embed this video. I'm going to want to highlight this whole thing and copy it. Go back to my course, and if I click on the HTML, what I've already written appears here in HTML format. And what I'm going to want to do then is just paste in the code that I got from the website. Click Update, and you can see it shows up right here. If I wanted to include more spaces in HTML format, a space is just this. So if I wanted a couple more spaces between my instructions and my video, I could just do this. And that's going to provide a couple more spaces. So if I update it, you'll see, well, it didn't show up as much. I think it put him here. I think I had to push return. Anywho, you can monkey around with that. So if you want this displayed on the page, you certainly wouldn't want this whole thing displayed on the page. If it was just a quick explainer, maybe you would. So that's pretty much it as far as actually getting the forum done. Now we have to start making some choices. It may be important to you to limit the size of their responses or to display a word count. Maybe you have a minimum that they need to reach. Subscription and tracking, I generally leave this as is. You could do a forced subscription where their name automatically shows up. That's up to you. Generally, students are going to opt for it because they should be getting a grade for it. The RSS I generally leave as is, but you can play with that as well. I don't do much until we get down to grade again. And again, for me, if a student does work, they should expect to receive a grade. So I'm going to put it into a category, but that's not going to mean anything until I go to ratings. So in this way, it's similar to the glossary. And within the ratings, I need to choose, maybe that it's the maximum rating that they'll be scored on, and that they can get 100. Maybe they can only, maybe it's only worth 10 points. You can choose whatever you want. But those two are important in order to get it to be graded. Otherwise, it's not going to show up in the grade book. And then the last thing I do, I leave these generally as I always do on default, the activity completion. And this one's a little bit more unique. You can let the student mark it, or if you want the computer to mark it, you get to choose the conditions. So for me, I usually require that they do one post, and my instruction said that they need to make 2 replies. And as soon as they've met those conditions, it will automatically be checked. So if we save and display, this is what it'll look like when they open it. They'll click Add a New Discussion Topic, and they'll add their thoughts to why or why not. In this case, animals should be used. And if we go back to see how it looks in the course, again, I put it here within Unit 2, so I can move it where I want. I can do whatever go back in and edit it, whatever I need to do. And that is how you create a discussion forum in Moodle.